Pisces. First of all, I'd like to have a look into those that are dealing with fire signs. So if you're a Pisces dealing with an Aries, Sagittarius, or Leo, what are the messages you can pick up from these cards here, taking into account these 6 cards in front of us, and then also a fellow 4 cards into your relationship as well. Okay, Judgment flipped over, which is good. There's definitely a lot of analyzing that's happening. I feel like you're embracing each other's opinions over the next 3 months. I think family is involved, but family approval is really big for some of you. So for those that are meeting in-laws for the first time, or future in-laws to be for the first time, or meeting family members, I feel like there's good rapport. I also feel like a lot of judgments and a lot of, I guess, opinions or things that were held deep, residual feelings or emotions held deep within inside someone, they're going to communicate this to you, Pisces, with the Judgment card. I feel like it could be harsh judgments, but I think with the Wheel of Fortune here, wow, this is powerful, that this is things that need to come to light that are going to bring the two of you closer together. It may be initially tough to hear, Pisces, but I think you'll definitely get conquest with a fire sign. I feel like a fire sign will feel really, really confident in your relationship and really, really confident, and they trust your judgment. It's almost like you might be leading the relationship or they might be leading the relationship, but I feel like you're both trusting each other's judgments, trusting the pace this other person wants to go at in this relationship. You're really embracing it, because we see these people here, you can see, and they're embracing this beautiful angel that's playing a trumpet, and they're really just, it's glory, they're sort of glorifying this angel. So I think there's a lot of conquest and success and glory in your relationships over the next 3 months. Definitely a lot of fated changes that are taking place, as is shown in the Wheel of Fortune. There's definitely a cycle that's coming to fruition here. As I said, there is this sort of energy where you're with someone for the long term. For others, I feel like the person that you're with is definitely someone fated in your life. This is a soulmate, twin flame connection. You know, we have a higher power here with the Wheel of Fortune, also a higher power with the angel here. So I feel like this is a very strong connection. So for those that are in their early stages of this relationship, I very well think it's worth exploring this person and what they have to offer you. I think you will overcome any judgments that you might have towards each other, towards love, or towards how you would like your relationship to be. And I really think it's about, going from the 9 of Swords to become the King of Swords. It takes a lot of words, and it takes a lot of courage, and it takes a lot of openness and vulnerability. And I think that's something you'll encounter over the course of the next 3 months, because it's something that needs to happen. I think you need to embrace what it is this other person needs to tell you, this fire sign, Aries, Sagittarius, or Leo. They can be closed off with their emotions sometimes, and for them to come out with them, they don't want to feel hurt, or they don't want to feel judged. So I think judgment might be a big thing for you over the next 3 months. Maybe you need to be a little bit more self-aware of how you're coming across, Pisces, or maybe they need to be more self-aware of how they're coming across to you. Regardless, though, I think communication is definitely improving. There could be times where you are feeling a little bit down, a little bit despaired at this other person. I think maybe you feel lonely, or maybe you don't feel as connected, which I spoke about in the general reading. But I think this cycle, you're breaking this cycle. So you're breaking the darkness, because look at all these wonderful other cards here. They're all about victory and success and a cycle that's improving and something that's being embraced. So I think you're really embracing your love, or someone is really embracing commitment. For some of you, it's children. It's embracing commitment in the form of marriage or children, because the Judgment card is denotive of legalities. So signing papers, organizing IVF treatments, trying to conceive a child, talking about family, planning a future, planning your future family home. There's something really serious, like big milestones that are taking place for you over the next 3 months. And I feel like you'll give a lot of reassurance to the fire signs, because I see them being very happy. I feel like you'll make them feel extra special, Pisces, and you have that power. You have the power to do that. And I think vice versa. They have the power to please you and potentially make you really happy. So for some of those that are sort of retracting and pulling away because you still want independence, or there's a lack of clarity, so be it. Maybe you need to take your time. Maybe you need to weigh up the pros and cons with the Nine of Swords. Maybe you need to spend a few extra nights alone being independent to give yourself that contrast with what life could be like without this person, as opposed when this person is with you. Because I think for some of you, there's definitely a possibility to spend the rest of your lives with this person and be really, really happy and have a beautiful family home, have wonderful children, more children, and embark on a beautiful eternal cycle together, and even spend your twilight years together. So for some of you that are dealing with fire signs, I feel like this person, it might be the person you grow old with, which is really beautiful. So that's those Pisces that are dealing with fire signs. I'll now move on and have a look at the Pisceans that are dealing with fellow water signs. So if you're dealing with a fellow Pisces, a Cancer, or a Scorpio, what sort of energies or messages are there for you in your relationship for the next 3 months? Okay, Queen of Swords. Definitely a fated partnership that's happening here. The Queen of Swords and the King of Swords. There's a very strong compatibility with some of you, especially in regards to emotion and or thought. With the Queen of Swords, you also have the Fool card, the Seven of Wands, and the Two of Cups. Fated water signs are around you. Absolutely. Two of Cups. There's an engagement happening for some of you. Either travels or an engagement, could be a surprise engagement that happens overseas, happens in uncharted territory, happens unexpectedly. There's definitely new beginnings here, a rebirth in love for some of you, which is beautiful, but definitely improvement on communications, and it's a soulmate connection. Well, it's as a soulmate or a twin flame connection. I feel like you mirror each other's behaviors, wants, passions, desires, ambitions, morals, beliefs, traditions. There's a very strong compatibility in terms of thought process, of how you want this relationship to move. Maybe you both have a lot of independency, and that's how you like it, and that's why you're so compatible with each other. With the Queen of Swords, a lot of positive direction, positive communication. I think the relationship is definitely moving forward, and I think you're both agreeing on the sort of pace that you want, Pisces, which is good. I think you've met someone here, if you are dealing with a fellow fire sign, that can offer you a lot of solace, a lot of support, and someone that can back you up, that believes in you, that believes what you're about, that shares very similar. There's synchronicity here. There's the two of you are obviously on the same wavelength, is what I gather from seeing the Queen of Swords and the King of Swords both together present in this reading. Now, the Fool card is new beginnings, it's changes. It's also a notion of embracing the new, taking a leap of faith, taking a chance. So for some of you, you're taking a chance on what could be a potential soulmate, I think, if it is a fellow water sign. You're really embracing, and some of you might feel a little bit foolish or feeling like you're going into uncharted territory and you're not really confident with how things are moving along. But you're just taking a chance, and I think it's going to lead you to wonderful things. So it's new beginnings. It's possible relocation for some of you with the Fool card. For others, I feel like there might be a foolish notion or a foolish behavior, or someone might feel a little bit foolish for thinking a certain way. And this is for those water signs that are dealing with someone that is just wanting something physical and not wanting the commitment. For others of you that have been married for a very long time, or you have children or grown children, I feel like with the Fool card, I feel like there's changes that are happening within your relationship, changes that maybe you've previously haven't been very open to receiving, but I think that's about to change with the Seven of Wands. There's some sort of resistance here. So for some, I think there is a very, very strong compatibility, absolutely, with the Queen of Swords and the Two of Cups. This is soulmate, twin flame, synchronicity. Things are aligning between the two of you, engagements, commitments, vows, weddings, commemorating your love, celebrating anniversaries, things like this that'll definitely bring you closer over the next 3 months. For others, I feel like there's foolishness either coming from you or coming from this other person, because although for some there is compatibility and someone does want the same independence as you do in your relationships, but for others I feel like there's resistance. Someone's feeling foolish at the pace you're setting, Pisces. Someone isn't admiring this. It's not sitting well with them because maybe they want commitment and they want it yesterday, and that's just not something you're physically able to offer them right now. So some of you may feel a little bit pressured with the Fool card. You may feel like, oh, should I just take a chance because I have to conform to society, or I'm not getting any younger, or is this the only person that's around me, so do I have to settle for them then? Like, there's lack of reassurance with the Fool card because he sometimes goes into things blindly. So I think, excuse me, I think it's important for you to remember this, that you have that resistance for a reason. And if things aren't working and you've given people chances and you've given them the benefit of the doubt, if they're still not working, or you're still not feeling that emotion, then maybe after all, for some of you, it isn't your soulmate, it isn't your twin flame, or maybe there's just a lesson for you to learn about love or how you approach love with this person. And then it might be time to move on and start on a new beginning. Walk away, or just accept whatever will be, will be. There's this sort of notion of this for those people that are dealing with water signs, that whatever comes to pass because you believe it's a higher power. You believe it might send you to your true, beautiful soulmate here that's waiting for you, waiting for commitment and waiting to receive that commitment from you, definitely. So that was for those that were dealing with water signs. I will be moving on now onto earth signs. So those Pisceans that are dealing with a Taurus, Capricorn, or Virgo, what sort of messages are coming in for Pisceans dealing with Taurus, Capricorn, or Virgo? Ace of Wands, King of Pentacles, Queen of Wands, and the Hangman. Okay, so for those waiting to see something really big and really explosive and really magical and really a pleasant surprise or a pleasant change, I think this change is definitely coming in over the next 3 months. The King of Pentacles has come up. He represents stability, he represents commitment, he represents maturity. And then in coinciding with the Queen of Wands, which is all about sexuality and receptiveness and openness, I think you're getting the best of both worlds, to be honest. So emotional security, but passion and sex and the physical component too, and that spiritual connection as well. So that's really, really powerful here. The Ace of Wands, it's almost like you're holding it in your hands, Pisces, or this person is holding it in their hands. They're holding a wonderful, beautiful relationship, and it encompasses so much that these kind of relationships don't come around too often. There's definitely more stability that's coming in from people, more commitment. I feel like you give each other different things, whether it's you that's giving this person stability and they're giving you that great spiritual and emotional connection, and they're giving you a lot of adventure and a lot of passion in your relationship. I feel like you're giving each other different things because the couple is very different here. So you may feel like you're very different with this person, with this earth sign that you're dealing with, but they give you that sensuality, they give you that earthly pleasure that no one else can. So I think in terms of compatibility, it's really, really strong here. For others, there could be a new addition to the family or a new asset coming in with the King of Pentacles. Can represent a large sum of money for yourself, for the couple, for the relationship that you're in. There's also there's also a cat here, so there could be an addition in terms of pets to the family, so new additions to the family. I feel like things are getting a little bit more serious now. I feel like there's a lot of gifts and spoils coming over the next 3 months, whether it's you gifting or spoiling your significant other, or they're gifting you beautiful things or spoiling you. I feel like something will be turned upside down, but I think it's a pleasant surprise. I think there's a change coming in and you'll be surprised at what someone's doing for you or how they're acting. But it's a pleasant surprise, Pisces. I think you're intuitive and you can understand when something's happening or something's going on around you, Pisces. So I think you definitely know something is up. But as I said, the Hangman here could indicate waiting or could indicate things being thrown upside down a little bit, but it's for a good cause. And for those that have recently been in relationships or are currently in relationships where things have been a little bit introverted, you haven't gotten much vocalization or much communication about where this person wants the relationship to be at, I feel like this is going to change. There's like a brighter, you can see this what looks like a saintly yellow halo, and then we see the pentacle, and we also have this gorgeous yellow robe. So there's a lot of brightness, increased happiness in this relationship. Just a really positive next 3 months with your earth sign lover. They're definitely going to surprise you. There's definitely a lot of adventure happening here. There's a lot of gifts and spoils, and I think things are going to be certain things might spin you out a little bit, Pisces, but in a good way. I think it'll throw you off, but in a good way, if that makes any sense. So that's really positive. Spirituality is coming into it. I think spirituality may help increase that connection or that spark or something like this, the physical or the spiritual component of your relationship. I feel like that may help you over the next 3 months. Because the Ace of Wands here is the hand of God. Some of you are dealing with a someone that's fated to be in your path, that's been put in your life, and you've chosen them for a reason. I also feel like this person can offer you a lot, because in each of these cards you can see the people are holding something. So they're bringing a lot to the relationship, or the two of you, once you're in a wonderful commitment together, you can bring a lot to each other's lives, which is really positive, which would be an ideal relationship, if I'm honest, because it just encompasses so much, and this person is so versatile and able to offer you such different things. So that's absolutely beautiful. Let's have a look at air signs though. The Pisceans that are dealing with air signs: Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Okay, Two of Swords, Nine of Wands, Two of Pentacles, and the High Priestess cards. Okay, so for some of you, I feel like there's an air sign that's either talking to someone else, or they're balancing things up. There's lack of clarity. They're not really sure about where they want this relationship to go, how they want it to proceed. The Two of Swords present here is a conflicted mind, is seeing crossroads, is blinding oneself. And I think for a lot of air signs out there, they're very much immersed in their thoughts over these next 3 months about this relationship. There's also a capricious energy with the Nine of Wands. We see this person standing guard here, almost unsure about how they want to move forward, or they're being guarded for some reason. I feel like there's a block in communication. So for some, there will be wonderful communication, as indicated by the King of Swords in the general messages, but in the more in these detailed messages, more catered to your individual relationship, I feel like with air signs, there's someone that's just blocking thought, blocking emotion, or not really acknowledging what it is that they're feeling or why. They're sort of standing guard, or they're paranoid about something. For some, it could be someone else that's come into their life. I did mention a third party situation, and it's interesting that there's Two of Swords, the Two of Pentacles, and these two white and black columns here. So I feel that, pillars I should say, but I feel that with this notion of two, there's obviously something else this air sign is juggling, whether it's another person, whether it's a job, whether it's a hobby, whether it's another commitment in terms of business, or it's another friendship. It might make you a little bit jealous, Pisces, because you feel like this air sign might be committing to a lot more other things. But I feel there's definitely a higher priority, as indicated by the Two of Pentacles. One pentacle sits higher than the other, so there's obviously something that's being prioritized, and I have a feeling it might not be you necessarily for some of you. With the High Priestess present, I feel like some might be contemplating relocating or moving with the ship here, or having a child, or possibly christening or baptizing a child. I feel like there's a lot of back and forth. A decision can't be made as yet, but it's concerning a major change in your life or in your relationship. And the High Priestess can denote major changes because she's a priestess of prophecy. She predicts things that happen in our life, major changes that can change our lives, but it can also change the lives of others. So I feel like if it is concerning a child, it might be the thought of whether to have children or not. And there's this sort of going back and forth. For others, it could be an unplanned pregnancy, something you weren't planning or you didn't see coming with the Two of Swords may happen during the next 3 months, and you may be in two minds about whether this is something you want to pursue with your lover because it wasn't planned, and you're sort of juggling up your finances and seeing if you can actually afford the pregnancy, if you can afford this lifestyle, this change in job. There's a lot of sacrifices that need to be made with these major changes that the High Priestess can bring us. So I think for some there is that possibility. For others, I feel like if you have a wonderful relationship with an air sign, there could be twins coming in around you. The notion of two. I also feel for some there's just a lack of communication between the two of you, or you might feel like you're feeling extra defensive, or maybe you feel like they're feeling extra defensive and you're not really sure about why this has come about or what suddenly sparked this feeling in this person. With the Nine of Wands, as I said, it's that capricious energy. It's being on guard. It's being on the lookout. It's being maybe even a little bit suspicious. So for some of you, there could be someone that is seeing someone else, that is maybe having an intimate or a physical relationship with someone else. Or maybe it's you, Pisces. Maybe you feel like there's someone else that's coming in around you and suddenly you feel really enticed by them, and suddenly you feel like they're more compatible with you and that you complement each other in a really beautiful way with the yin and yang pillars here. So I think for some there might be an opportunity for another person to come into your life, Pisces. Whether or not you take this opportunity, this is free will. For others, I feel like you will be very resistant and you won't be receptive to someone else's offer because you are in a relationship and you're quite happy. For others, it could be a change in home. As I said, it's planning for the long-term future, as we saw with the Three of Wands. So I feel with this long-term planning, there's really a lot of back and forth. I feel like you can't come upon a amicable decision to make that move, to have that child, to buy that home, to renovate that home, to sell, to move, to change your career. So there is a lot of back and forth. There's indecisiveness, which can happen with air signs, and it can be a little bit frustrating sometimes, but because they're so analytical and they need to weigh everything up in their mind, sometimes it can be a little bit overwhelming for you because you're a little bit different. You're ruled by the heart, not by the head. So you have to feel confident about things. You have to feel your way through life, feel your way through decisions, and that's how you reach your conclusions. That's how you reach confidence in your decision making, but they might be a little bit more different, which could make things a little bit more harder for you over these next 3 months. But look, you will move out of it. The High Priestess and the ship also represent protection, divine protection. So I feel like the relationship, it's nothing major. It's definitely something you can work through, and the relationship is protected through your nurturing and through your love and commitment towards each other. So that's really positive. But look, I will leave it at that, Pisces. I hope this has been insightful for all of you.